Okay, while I talk, we're going to keep an eye on Sham's Twitter and Adrian Wojnarowski's Twitter because I want to see if Kyrie Irving had a. I haven't seen this news, but I want to see that Kyrie Irving has agreed to a long-term extension with the Celtics. That would make me feel much better about this trade if we do know we have Kyrie Irving locked up for the next 4 or 5 years rather than the next 2 years. Either way, Celtics gave up a boatload. There's no doubt about it. But the fact is that Kyrie Irving is the better player in the playoffs than Isaiah Thomas. It's just a fact. And we know that if we do make it to the finals by some chance, that Kyrie Irving can match up very well with Steph Curry and be incredibly clutch. And he won't be the defensive liability that Isaiah Thomas was. Because if you look into a lot of the advanced stats, Isaiah Thomas not necessarily as good as he would appear, and not necessarily the MVP candidate that most people regarded him as this year. So looking at this from a Celtics perspective, how do I feel about it? Very mixed feelings. I want to look at the positive. I will look at the positive. The negative is the fact that if the Lakers pick doesn't land in the 2 to 5 range, we don't get that pick. We no longer have the Nets pick either. We could very well go into next year without any pick in the top 10. When 10 minutes ago we were looking at the possibility of having the number 1 and the number 2 pick in this draft, Michael Porter Jr. and Marvin Bagley III. That is no longer a possibility. We might not get any of those guys. We might not even get Mo Bamba or DeAndre Ayton or even one of the point guards in this class. So, but ultimately, Kyrie Irving is an upgrade. And when you get to this level, as Danny Ainge just talked about, every small improvement at one position gets magnified in importance. And the fact is, right now, guys are sleeping on Shemi Ojale and maybe even Jason Tatum a little bit. And that's because Shemi Ojale was expected to be nothing more than a backup third string small forward, power forward for the Celtics. All of a sudden, he's going to get a chance to shine. People are going to get to see what he's all about. They're going to see that he's much better than expected, and they're going to watch Brad Stevens turn Shemi Ojale into Jay Crowder, just as he turned Jay Crowder into Jay Crowder, right? Just as Brad Stevens helped turn Isaiah Thomas into what we currently know of Isaiah Thomas as the reputed MVP candidate type player. So what is Brad Stevens going to do with Kyrie Irving? I bet he makes him better. Another thing, guys, Kyrie Irving being 25 years old, okay, 25 years old. Isaiah Thomas already like 28 years old, coming up on 29. Do you really give a guy like that who's that small a big long-term contract? The obvious answer is no. And the fact is that as good as Kyrie has been so far, NBA championship, NBA champion, all of that stuff, clutch playoff performer, the fact is that Kyrie Irving is not done getting better. And we see this with a lot of different point guards where the sweet spot, that real sweet spot is the age 27, 28 years old. Hopefully we still have Kyrie Irving when he's 28, 29 years old. Because right now it's looking like we get him while he's 25, 26, and 27. Only 2 seasons, but we can offer Kyrie Irving the most money in 2 years at an age where Kyrie Irving will be still younger than Isaiah Thomas is right now. And hopefully Kyrie Irving stays for the long term. Hopefully he's a good fit, chemistry-wise, team-wise, selflessness-wise, with Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics. Cavs and Celtics are looking like a massive rivalry in the East, which no other team, in my opinion, can compete with, unless the Milwaukee Bucks pull something crazy this year. So I'm trying to see the upside of this. Hopefully the Nets are better than expected. They certainly have no reason to tank. I think they got worse with the trade of Brook Lopez, but they do have some young, talented players, and maybe they put it together. Maybe D'Angelo Russell plays like a man in his contract year to get that money. So I'm going to be rooting for the Nets. And wow, it's going to be emotional when the Cavs and Celtics play because Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder were such big parts of the team. Ante Zizic as well, losing him. That's like, we lost a lot of We lost some very cheap, very good players who were, Isaiah Thomas getting like $6 million, Jay Crowder getting like $7 million, Ante Zizic locked up for 4 years. That's a lot. Not to mention the rookie from the Nets pick was going to be locked up for up to 7 years on a very cheap contract in this environment in which cap space is a precious commodity. So the Celtics are going to be well over the cap with no flexibility and possibly no top 10 pick next year. It's a huge risk. I do believe it makes the Celtics ever so slightly better. I don't think that Jay Crowder was ultimately going to end up being a good chemistry fit with Gordon Hayward. I think Jay Crowder is just a fickle guy, and it's part of what makes him so good, but it also has its drawbacks. And I think there's more to this than we know behind the scenes. We know that Isaiah Thomas was all about getting that money, and we know that Danny Ainge has a knack for scouting point guard talent, whether it's Terry Rozier or Marcus Smart, or seeing the potential in Isaiah Thomas in the first place and trading for him. Or we got to trust Danny Ainge's. We got to trust his eye on Kyrie Irving too, because I think Danny Ainge sees an MVP candidate, maybe even an MVP, best player in the league in Kyrie Irving. I think that's what he sees in him. So if there's one position that Danny Ainge is absolutely a master at, it's point guard. And even if Kyrie gets hurt, we still have Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier, who are super talented. That's your analysis from the Celtics side. Very much a mixed bag. But, Kyrie Irving has much more actual real MVP potential than the illusory MVP candidate type ability of Isaiah Thomas. Kyrie Irving is not done improving, and you're about to see that. You're about to see Kyrie Irving be one of the very best players in the NBA next year. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So keep your heads up, guys, because things are getting serious. The days of the Celtics being chump change or fake contenders or ridiculously overrated number 1 seeds, those are all over because things just got a lot more serious. All right, I'll see you soon. Peace.